Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Uh, Today is July 5, 2023, and this is the Evan Studios weekly podcast. I'm your host Stark, and today I'm here alone. We don't have our usual co-host Isaac, but maybe he's listening to it. um, so we are going to do the podcast today at this time because we are trying to find a time where it feels like more flexible for our viewers, and we are also trying to since we don't have Isaac at the office most of the time now, like we explained last week, Isaac now has a second job, so mostly he kind of works from home, so he's able to do both things at the same time. But to do the podcast, we will have to come up with a way for him to actually participate online. We haven't tested it yet, and honestly, we've been so busy at the office about every other possible thing that we have to work on for Evan Studios that making edits to the podcast or seeing how stuff works or whatnot is just honestly not a priority. Um, so today we have a lot to talk about. Regarding the podcast, we've been meaning to change the whole layout and the intros and whatnot for a while now, but um, it just hasn't happened yet. We plan to switch the whole I am a background to have more of our main characters, the ones where their games are being developed at the moment. The logos should also reflect Bloodlust and whatnot from now on. We also want to overhaul our Patreon pages and our subscribe star pages, but we are waiting for the Christmas patch to be finished to do that. So yeah, basically in terms of overall web page design and Discord design, podcast design, and all our live stream designs, we are going to change that a lot. Right now, live streams are kind of like a pop off where it can pop off at any time because there's stuff that we can stream and there's stuff that we can stream, and usually the stuff that we can stream we stream right away, and that led to some funny streams on Picarto. I personally have been enjoying our 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 uh, our basically development streams. We need to come up with a name for that shit. Uh, we've been having a lot of fun with that. Last one, basically, you will get to hear just me and Isaac going back and forth, yelling at each other for almost an hour. Not yelling in the sense of like yelling, but in the sense of we were trying to troubleshoot an issue with RPG Maker and trying to fix a situation, but it's just annoying. Anyway, it's really weird to do a podcast at this time for me. It's like really late for me in Portugal. It's like 9 p.m. The podcast was also supposed to start like an hour ago, but I got caught in traffic. Um, some dumbass decided to have a fucking accident in the interest of a tunnel, and just ruined the night for everyone. But yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate everyone that is listening to this live or listening to this um, later on the VOD. I already noticed we have Ancestral in this chat. What's up, Ancestral? It's always good to see the people that are our comments, our patrons of the podcast showing up. It's always good to see you guys in the chat. And speaking of which, let's get something out of the way, and then we can move on to explain what is going on in all fronts. On on our Discord, Morgan yesterday asked something. I was like, when I noticed it was already, because at the time he asked it was like 3 a.m. for me. So when I noticed it in the morning, I was like, okay, I'll just answer this in the podcast. And then I realized it was like asking now since I have no idea if I can catch a podcast tomorrow. So I'm gonna answer anyway, and then um, if he gets the answer, cool. If he doesn't get the answer, I'll just send him the link of the VOD with the time of where I answer his question. So it's all good. He's gonna get to the answer for he's gonna get the answer for sure, regardless. So Morgan asked, and this is something that might, a lot of people might be wondering. He said, "Nice. I was also wondering, since the art team was good when it comes to progress on the Christmas patch, any chance or estimated date when we can start seeing previews of Bloodlust? Maybe work in progress pictures or concept art of the new characters, like the one on Twitter. Also, there won't be previews here like they were on the shoulder patch for the Christmas patch, only the ones from Twitter. Asking now since I have no idea if I can catch a podcast tomorrow." So one thing at a time, I'm going to get to all of that. The first part of the question is there any chance for estimated date when we can start seeing previews of Bloodlust, work in progress of Bloodlust or concept art? No, we not only we don't have like a very likely idea of when you can start seeing that. Even if we did, we wouldn't say it. There can be a patch tomorrow and people won't know. Like the last time what we did with the shoulder patch, we kept. I think we're at the stage in our development where if people want to distrust us after 8 years, after all we've put out in our body of work, if people want to distrust us, we have stopped caring about trying to defend our image or whatever. If people want to distrust us and if they don't want to follow us and if they don't want to support us, that's fine, cool. Just go do your thing. But we suffered a lot on the shoulder patch because we kept trying to make the game better, and we just wanted to have more time to work on it, and every time we kept postponing it, it's hurting us financially, it's hurting ourselves from other games, it's not letting us progress to games that people are not tired of, and people were taking it against us as if we were like milking our patrons or subscribers or whatever people accuse us of, just because we put like an initial estimate. And beyond that initial estimate, obviously a lot of real life stuff happened, and not only that, we just kept, okay, we can just release what we got, or I have ideas to make this better, and we are done apologizing for trying to make our games better. That's pretty much it. So not to dwell much on it, we stopped giving deadlines because people say no, we won't hold you to it, but then people hold you to it. And I'm not gonna go here and say that, oh, you're gonna get the Christmas patch completed 100% in August, and then probably Journey Abroad 1 month after that, and Bloodlust 1 month after that. Obviously, there's plans that we have to release it on certain time periods, but we are not gonna give you guys dates so people can hold us to it. Because once we start getting into a flow where we are releasing stuff, we have plans to be on the constant releasing of stuff. And for people that been listening to the podcast or been getting updated on our social medias or our patrons or other sites where people can follow us, you probably already know what's our plan for game releases. So no, we don't have a date, and we will probably never give a date again, because people will with a lot of zeal hold you to those dates. So yeah, we want to have room to maneuver, and if people believe us and they realize we are working and we are trying to make the best possible product, and we are trying to not release a mediocre game, people are going to keep supporting us. And if people don't feel that way, people are free to go support something else that they deem it's better. It's that simple. It's not that we're mad or it's like countermeasure to anything. It's just like we're passionate about making games, and we want to make the best possible games, and we won't make excuses, to put more time into games to make sure that they come out right. Now, what I did explain at some other time is that we are going to focus on release dates, in the sense that we want to make shorter times between patches, which mean the patches are going to get less content, but we are still going to, it's probably going to break narrative a few times, but we are still going to be super passionate about doing something. But when it comes to the shorter patch, and when it comes to like the Christmas patch, their patch is so small that it makes, okay, so the shorter patch probably should have, I've already said that the game should have been released in like 3 parts, but when it comes to the Christmas patch, which is like 8 or 9 scenes, it makes no sense to break the game in like 2. So also to point it out, like we are making good progress on Christmas, correct, but there's still like 4 scenes to finish. And even if you give us like an average of 1 week to make per scene, we're still going to take a month to release it. So we are doing our very best. And the only reason why we are, and this answers the next part, which is about the previews, we are the only reason we are not releasing previews, at least until the first patch of Journey Abroad, and at least until the first patch of Bloodlust, is because we want to create some mystique behind the game. Sorry, I pressed the mute button for a second, and then when I pressed it like two or 3 more times, and it didn't go away. So the reason why we aren't posting any more previews at the moment is because we want to create some surprise for the games. We don't want to spoil too much when it comes to our future games. At least for the first patch. Once we get the first patch out and people see what's going on and the quality of the art, but we also want to create some surprise. And I know that people should have the right to decide if they want to be spoiled or not. But most people, what happens a lot of the times is people cannot contain themselves. They spoil themselves, and they're like, oh, I wish I didn't spoil myself. And we are trying to kind of prevent that for a little bit. And obviously, once the first patch is out, we are going to go back to post the entire scenes as they are being created, and posting them every week on Patreon, on the CG previews and whatnot. We're going to go back to doing that. But as for now, we want to create some expectations, some hype, and we want to surprise people with the quality and the changes that we are creating. And we are super excited for that, and we genuinely want to surprise people, and we want people to get if we spoil people too much, it's going to break a little bit of what the experience can be, in our personal opinion. But it's not a lot. Like we are only doing this for at least until the first patch of Journey Abroad is out. Once the first patch of Journey Abroad is out, we are going to go back to releasing the previews of the scenes. And same thing with Bloodlust. As soon as the first patch is out, we want to, as for the Christmas scenes, I mean, if we spoil them, the patch is already so small, and honestly, one of the big points of the patch is going to be the narrative. If the story isn't at least a little bit interesting, because it's supposed not to be anything too serious. It's just a Christmas patch. It's supposed not to have a lot of story and whatnot, but it's supposed to have at least a little bit of decent story, and to be able to reel the players in and want to experience the patch, not for just a couple more scenes, but to provide a little bit of a gag, a little bit of not plot, but to have a little bit of story. Give me just 1 second. Sorry, I'm back. This is if we start editing our videos like Isaac wants us to start editing all of our videos, these parts are probably gonna get cut. But this is a problem with having cats. They want to go into rooms, and then you lock the door, and then they don't want to leave, and then once you're doing the podcast they want to leave. But yeah, like I was saying, we don't want it to be like mindless gratuitous sex in a Christmas costume. We figured there can be some sort of plot going on in the back. We want to create a story that is interesting, like, oh wow, what's going to happen next. And you can probably attribute most of what happens on the Christmas night to like booze and for people to be inebriated. But it's Christmas, so imagine it's a party where most of the people there are not spending it with their families. They are frustrated with a lot of stuff in their jobs, in their personal lives. So they are looking to vent their frustrations off, and then a lot of funny side stories happens in the Christmas party. And if we start spoiling those with the pictures and what happens, and if people catch on to details and whatnot, the story is gonna fall instantly. We already spoiled one scene where Adriana is having sex with what people correctly assumed was Robert and Arthur, Robert's father, which is, a little bit of a spoiler. Once you start playing the game, you kind of already realize, oh, this is gonna happen. And we also recently spoiled on Twitter one of the two scenes there is going to be added to, well, two entire scenes, because there's going to be like 10 new CGs on the final version, but one of the two new entire scenes to be released on for the Shota patch. So we released those because we want to keep people we want to give people something to be excited for, but at the same time we don't want to give too much to the point where then there is no, there's no sense of surprise, no sense of something to look for. We want people to be able to experience stuff for the first time and be surprised with the outcome. And the only reason why I released that Fujiko scene was, one, that scene already exists in the game technically. It's just part of a small bit of dialogue, introspection that I am as in one of the endings, instead of making an actual scene, which was, what a few people were like, wow, this scene would have looked amazing if it was an actual scene. And in a major part, you can probably thank Sirius Black for that. And I released the Christmas scene because people were like super psyched for a Christmas patch, and we had to delay it for a few reasons to work a little bit more on the Shota patch and add a new scene and make a few changes here and there and try to improve the scenes. And the CG team was also working on some stuff for Bloodlust and whatnot. So we released a few previews, but we didn't want to like share too much. So that's pretty much it. Oh god, please don't close that. Okay, so now that I got this out of the way, and it only took me 22 minutes because I definitely talk too much, or I'm trying to like just I'm trying to cover the more amount of things that I can in the podcast, because people have questions, and I do tell people, listen, if you have questions, it's okay, just post them in the podcast. I will try to like have a conversation with you and try to like explain detailedly what is going on. Detailedly, is that a word? Minutiously, yeah, I'm pretty sure that one is. So I'm just trying to cover the most things so that our supporters legitimately feel like they are being informed of what's going on, of what's our progress and whatnot. And sometimes I digress. So we started our live streams on Picarto, sadly, yeah, a lot of people have been watching those, and yeah, a lot of people started started realizing how much work goes into making a game. And a lot of stuff that people were like, bro, I just thought you guys just put that together in 5 minutes, and that wasn't a big part of the game. And now people are starting to get an idea of how much work it actually goes into making a game, and how much work actually goes into details. A lot of people also thought that we just purchased stuff, like a bunch of stuff, out of the internet, and that most of the assets that we got, we will just go Google for royalty free, or go Google for assets, purchase them, and put them in the game. And then people will realize that a lot of the work that we do it. Which I didn't know that was one of the issues. Like, I just thought that people didn't realize how much work went into making the game. And turns out people also didn't realize how much of our game we ourselves do. For instance, like I said at the start of the stream, people, last time we streamed, which was like Monday or Friday or whatever it was this week, people realized that Isaac and I took like hours just to fix the new Windows skin, which was, probably not urgent to do for the Shota patch, but it was something that we wanted to. That is also going to work for future versions, for future Fleeting Hours remaster, which is definitely something that we need to talk about in later on the podcast. Sirius Black and Morgan are in the chat now. Welcome to the live stream. Morgan, I already answered your question. I will give you the timestamp for when I answer it. Later once I finish the podcast, I'll tell you in the VOD exactly when you can answer your question. So it's pretty much the first 20 minutes is me answering your question. Right now in Evan Studios, and the reason why I called Power Overwhelming, it's because right now developing is being kind of like overwhelming, and it's a pun on a very old cheat code for one Blizzard game when Blizzard was decent. So right now, I'm saying that because developing was never like this. We will always have one thing to work on, and that was Fleeting Iris, and all the time that we devoted to it, we will be devoting to Fleeting Iris, regardless if we were just trying to clean up text, or change all the images, or just researching new ideas for the future, making new menus, whatever it was, everything was Fleeting Iris. No, Morgan, if you have more questions, I can answer them later. Right now, it's different because we're all over the place. Right now, we're working on 4 projects at the same time. We're trying to finalize the vastly superior Shota patch version. We're trying to finish Christmas patch. We're already making a lot of assets for Bloodlust, and we put Journey Abroad on hold because Journey Abroad is so advanced to the point where as soon as we finish the Christmas patch and we start working on Journey Abroad, we already have most of the stuff that we need to put out a patch. So and we've been working on Fleeting Iris remaster when we don't have baby chill. So we've been working on Fleeting Iris remaster, which again it's a lot different from what we expected it earlier on to be. So basically on Bloodlust, we're trying to we've been trying to figure out what will be the best progress system for the game, where we will try to figure out what was the best way to split the game between story and battle, and now we will let the players progress through that period. And the more we think of it, the more it makes sense that we do something on a very Persona style, where you have basically a few days where you can just do a lot of stuff in school and in the city, and then you have to basically tackle a dungeon because you figure out where one of the hideouts is, or like where one of the factories for something is and whatnot, and then once you dismantle that hideout, you go back to the real world, start collecting clues again, and trying to figure out where the core of the issue is, and basically you do that for a few times for a few hideouts. Um, New hideouts will have new enemies, and basically all of the enemies will have some enticings and some collaboration enticings where if you fight like specific parties at the same time. And obviously, we also have the issue where we still don't know if we're going to get animated battlers and whatnot. So, Bloodlust right now is where we're putting a lot of our time, because we don't want to spend too much time just looking at the drawboard once we finish the Christmas patch, and once we start working on Journey Abroad. We need to actively work on Bloodlust to come out right after. And there's still a lot of a lot of questions for Bloodlust. We also are trying to like cut the game, because you already had so many ideas for so many scenes and whatnot, and we're like, okay, if we do this game is going to be huge as well. Plus, not to mention that if we don't find someone else to work on the team, there will be some moments where we need the CG team to do a fix here and there for Fleeting Hours Remaster, and you know, it's probably just going to take like 2 years to release Bloodlust, and we don't want to do that. And we are trying to cut everything that is not an amazing idea. Basically, that's something that, you know, we have a lot of ideas for scenes, for stuff that can happen and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's like, listen, unless it's essential, cut it off the game. It's supposed to be fast-paced game. You talk to some characters, you go into some battle, there's groups, and then you know, it's how it goes. You go a little bit of story, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of story, a little bit of fighting. It's supposed to be a fast game. You're supposed to be able to progress relatively fast once the battling starts and once the sex starts happening. You're supposed to be able to progress in the game fast. You're not supposed to be playing it for 8 years like Fleeting Hours. So we are trying to cut every enticing idea that I had, or at least, you know, put it into the side and not ship it in this game. That is not absolutely essential, or doesn't provide some cool idea or some cool kink, or covers something. We are trying not to add, like, you know, shoulder patch part 2 for Bloodlust in. Maybe, baby. I mean, there's 2 girls as well, but, you know, we can have an alternative shoulder patch reality where instead of I am in Fujiko, it will be like Evelyn in Jazz. So basically, we are trying to make sure that all the scenes in Bloodlust are not too vanilla, and they're actually hot and meaningful. Since, you know, there's a lot less scenes than Fleeting Hours, and we also have plans for the future for Bloodlust and for Journey Abroad to animate everything. So that's also a thing. And right now, for instance, we kind of already know what the scenarios are. We had like ideas to make like some NTR routes and whatnot, and honestly, we're a bit reluctant on adding those. So basically, Evelyn right now has something like 4 antagonists, and then Jazz is 4 antagonists, and then we had a bunch of free roam ideas, and we're like, listen, if we start adding free roam, this is not going to finish ever. So we might just try to incorporate some of these into like a mixed, where, you know, they have to infiltrate the strip club, the Kinky Kittens, and try to collect clues, so we can add a couple scenes there. Some with the students in the school and whatnot, but, you know, focus on the story. So basically, there's for the Jazz antagonists, there's Brett, which is the guy that we know from the cameos on Fleeting Hours, the guy that has sex with the spies in the window. There's a guy called Dion. Basically, Jazz moves into like a house. Someone rents her a room, and she moves into a house where the chick that lives there as a boyfriend is always there, and basically the boyfriend starts making advances on Jazz, so he's one of the antagonists. And then the homeless guys from Fleeting Hours are also some of the antagonists, kinda of one of the Jazz routes. sort of. It's just basically one of the our love interests, if you can look at it. Uh, and yeah, maybe less, some more, some less. I think they can go up to like 8 scenes per antagonist, 7, 8 scenes per antagonist, but some of them have like 5, 6. Um, and then there's a couple random scenarios with the subway molester, with where you see I am getting groped and kind of like have like cameos and whatnot. Um, basically, there's the library the library student group that you realize they are like just Evelyn's fan club and whatnot. There's the Kinky Kittens, basically infiltration, where you need to do stuff there. But just to have a lot of just to give you some of the ideas that go out through the game. For Evelyn, you have the school principal, which is in on the whole drug selling thingy. Basically, there's the informant, or yeah, I think informant is a good way to refer to him. And then there's the gym teacher, which is also in on the whole drug system and whatever, and basically takes a liking to Evelyn. And the gym teacher is like this big bulky dumbass, and he will be part of like the NTR. So basically, one of the teachers will fall in love for Evelyn. Evelyn will be kind of reciprocating his love, basically going on dates with him, and then the gym teacher, was the one that supposedly is the friend of that guy. But we are still deciding if we are going to keep that in the game, if we're going to take that out of the game, or if we're going to make that optional, if we're going to make the NTR optional. So to make the game have NTR optional is not, might be something that we kind of want to do it, but at the same time it feels completely overwhelming at this point. If we already look at Journey Abroad, which has an incest and a non-incest version, right? And then we have Journey Abroad. If we make an NTR and a non-NTR version, plus we're already working on Fleeting Hours Remaster, it's going to be a lot of work to do. Yeah, I realize that, Morgan. A lot of people are not a fan of vanilla, but these scenes are not vanilla. Like, they're not love scenes, so to speak. Basically, this game is going to be centered around blackmail and corruption. Those are going to be the main themes. So we are also considering making one specific route NTR for each of the girls, and just make people be able to avoid that one route if they are not into NTR. So that also felt like one of the best options for us, where it's a nice compromise. Obviously, it's not ideal because we are discussing stuff around the office and making decisions, and obviously people thrown out like, oh, but we are going to be creating this amount of art that some people will not be able to see because they don't enjoy NTR. And I understand that, but most of the NTR that happens is going to happen story-wise and narrative-wise. People can still go and see, I meant narrative-wise, so people can still go and see them in the game folder and whatnot. People are still able to see the art, but it's the narrative that is NTR oriented, so to speak. And then basically we have the BBC guys from Fleeting Hours, the guys that you find in the beach. One of them goes into that school. So basically this scene progresses, just to give you guys an idea of what a scene in Bloodlust will kind of be like. So the initial idea for this scene is that it follows the female student into the male bedroom, thinking she's going to buy drugs. But when she gets there, she looks over the stalls, and she's basically sucking dick through a glory hole. So if she can run away, or she can stop them. If she runs away, she basically is allowed to progress in the route later. And if she stops them, she stops the scene halfway, and then you are able to go there in the future. Maybe it breaks this route, so to speak. And then on the second time that you see the chick, if you didn't interrupt them, going to the into the male bathroom, or if it's like a different girl or whatever, she goes there, but this time she, instead of like, you know, running, she actually masturbates while she watches the girls doing her thing. And for the third scene, she basically will intercept the girl and then take her place. She's like, I know what you've been doing, blah 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 blah. And then she basically takes her place in the stalls, and you know, she does the blowjob to the guy without him realizing that he's not getting sucked by the other girl. And then he's gonna be like super confused, like, cause he's gonna talk to the girl and he's gonna be like, wow, today you were amazing, and the girl's gonna be like, no, the teacher stopped me, that wasn't me. So he gets a little scared, like, oh my god, was that a dude? Like, that's the male bathroom, was that another chick, and whatever. And the third time, what happens is she gives him basically a tit fuck, and he's like, whoa, her boobs are too big, there's no way she's, you know, let's call the girl Karen. So once he's done, he runs outside, and basically he sees Evelyn coming out of the bedroom and realizes what's going on, and basically they just start going for there, you know. Let's see what Siri said. I think NTR can't, unless he will never be super hard. I mean, it's not making the guy life super depressing or miserable like other games. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to like draw those type of characters. I think I did my close to my best on some of the routes on Fleeting Iris, where sometimes it feels like Robert is like super desperate, but I feel like to be able to tell a good NTR story, you need to involve the male character a lot. There has to be a lot of you gotta see the commitment, and it hurts more if you don't get the feeling that it kind of deserves it at some point, and Robert kind of does, which it's kind of hard to like mix a good corruption scene with a good NTR scene. Plus, I didn't want to make Robert look too bad, because, you know, it really depended on some routes. Like, to some routes he deserved it more, and some routes he didn't deserve it as much. So I feel like some routes, like the Kinky Kittens route, where Robert to some extent participated on what was going on. I'm not gonna say that he probably deserved the way stuff happened, but yeah, it feels like it was, you know, deserved. So yeah, that's pretty much it for NTR. We like the game is not going to be vanilla. There is not going to be like romantic interests. All the scenes are going to be mostly corruption and stuff like that. But if there's like a love interest, the game will always have some sort of like cheating. But for me, NTR is not. You can't just be cheating. The male character has to be involved in some way. The male character needs to kind of realize what's happening, or be afraid of something that is happening. But like be suspicious of a character, to be having sex with another character. And if you make NTR too much centric on Bloodlust, what's going to happen is it's all the other motives and all the other things that the game should be strong for, which is corruption and blackmail, are probably going to get synced into second place, and we're going to alienate a big part of our audience just because there's love interests there. So there's definitely plans for NTR there, but we might focus on some routes for NTR and just leave the NTR out of the other routes, so the player can decide if they want to play that route or not. And we can have like small NTR participations in the other routes if you pick to play the NTR. It might actually even be an option in the at the start of the game to pick if you want NTR scenes or not. So I feel like that will be the very best possible way to deliver the NTR in the game, or not deliver the NTR in the game. Yeah, so basically that's about it. So yeah, and then the game is gonna have a lot of The game is going to have a lot of details regarding the battling, the characters unlock traits. Basically, they have weak points once they get groped and whatnot from the enemies in the dungeons. And depending on how solidified they become in the real world, so to speak. Once they go into the dungeons, they might also be more reluctant or more open to some of the stuff that that happens there. So we were planning on having like levels where initially they will just be able to like be kind of stripped and show parts of the body, and on bra, panties, the breasts, and then if let's say that we have like levels of sluttiness, like from 1 to like 100, so to speak. So at level 100, at level 1, between level 1 and level 10, they will basically just kind of try to strip you and whatever and show bra, panties. But if you progress to like level 20, if this is the grab that they do, now they show breasts. Later they can strip down your panties and be able to show the genitals if they're higher. But this will be like the first grab, and then from level 20 and level 100, basically they will actually grope you. From level 30 and above, they will basically like kiss you and whatnot. Level 40, they will be able to suck their breasts, or if they're like at level 50 or 60 and they do this grab, they can just perform cunnilingus instead, or eat their ass instead, depending on how high you go. So basically, as you go up on sluttiness, so to speak, not only you unlock more grabs that the guys can do to you, but you also upgrade, so to speak, the lower level grabs that they can do to you, if that makes any sense. So basically that's it. There's so many ideas that right now are going into Bloodlust that it's really hard not to try and put more work into it, because it's one of the games where we feel like we need to put more work into. The other games are mostly just, they are the ideas and the way we're going to deliver everything is already just so it's defined. We already know how we're going to deliver everything. As for Bloodlust, we have a general idea of how we want to deliver stuff and how we want to deliver the story and the narrative and whatnot. But at the end of the day, there's obviously some things that we can tweak here and there. So yeah, basically, let me see what you guys have been saying on YouTube. In my opinion, there are games where male MC gets too much pain; it becomes not even fun. I get what you're saying, serious, and I feel like the same. Like, why is the guy letting this girl just trample all over him? There's very few games like, at some point, it's really hard for me to feel sorry for the guy being NTR, even though it's just a story. But at the end of the day, there's like a guy that can be tricked and basically realizes she's cheating, and then there is one moment where he realizes, oh my god, this girl is not what I expected her to be. I fell in love for a girl expecting her to be something and it's something else. This is incredibly disappointing and it hurts. But after that moment, if a guy keeps getting, if a guy keeps getting toyed with, that's the point I'm like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot, bro. Like, who she is. She revealed herself to you. It's time to fucking move on. It's hard to like. So, some guys are basically just cuckolds. Like, they like being in that situation. In those, I just like. I find it kind of funny. I can feel bad for a guy that is like, I know she's cheating on me, but right now I just love that she's cheating on me, sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, if you're fine with it, if you're fine with it, then you're fine with it. Who cares? Like, and then there's very few characters where you feel like the male character he's kind of a nice guy and he's being cheated on. And some of these I've read some stories where Technically, there's NTR, but the guy never realizes it. There's never a hint that he's being cheated on. I've seen some stories. This is what I don't understand. How some people catalog something as NTR, where the girlfriend is doing something for the boyfriend for him not to get expelled, or for him to be on the swimming team, or for him to being on whatever it is. And the gym teacher is like, if you don't have sex with me, I'm gonna take him away from the triathlon team. And then the girl has sex with the coach, and then the male character never realizes he's being cheated on, and they consider that NTR. Like, how is the guy getting NTR? Like, there's no feelings involved. He doesn't realize that his love interest is doing stuff for him, or he's cheating on him, or he's falling for another guy. Basically, she just arrives one day and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, want to break up with you. I met someone else," which is probably the mature way to go about it. Not after you already have fucked a person like a billion times, but if you put yourself in a position where someone can cheat on you, or if you put yourself in a position, not even cheat, if you as a person, if you're in a monogamous relationship and you put yourself in a position where people can seduce you, it's already bad. Like, I don't have a lot of girl friends, and I don't go to places where people will meet. Like, I don't go on Tinder, I don't go out to club at night. Like, I'm not looking for pussy, right? If you're looking for pussy, you're gonna find pussy. That's the thing. So if you are open to let people seduce you, sooner or later someone might seduce you, and then you can go, I feel like I can pursue a better relationship than the one that I have right now with this other person, and then you go home and you're like, I'm falling for someone else. But if you're not open to being seduced, if you're happy with the life you have, and you get to the point where you can look at a girl, appreciate a girl, but you also think, I'm happy with what I have at home, I will never pursue something with this woman, right? You don't open yourself to that seduction. And a lot of the stuff that happens in NTR, I feel like, wait, like, okay, she's innocent, but she's being kind of dumb. Like, why will she go to this party with these people? Like, you have a boyfriend, and usually there has to be some tie-in to make it believable for me. Else, I already think like, no, you only found dick because you were looking for dick, right? You put yourself in a position. So good NTR to me is always tied to something like blackmail, or the female character has to be unhappy or whatever. Else she's just a slut. So there's no corruption element there. But at the end of the day, what has to happen in NTR for me is the boyfriend needs to realize he's being cheated on. Else it's not NTR, it's just cheating. You're just getting cheated on. There's no feelings involved. The person can be mature, find someone else, fall in love for someone else, go home and be like, listen, I fell in love for someone else, which is already something kind of shitty to do, because again, 99% of the times I'm probably going to assume that you opened yourself to a position where you were cheating. So if I was doing everything that I could in a relationship, if I was being a good man, providing you good dick, providing you with a good life, being supportive, being everything that you can ask for a person, and you say you love me, and I'm providing you with everything that I feel like a man should provide a woman, and then you open yourself to being seduced by another guy, I'm going to be like, you're trash. I'm sorry, you're trash. It doesn't just happen. It's not a thing. That's not a thing. You open yourself to being seduced. I've been dating the same girl for 14 years, and I never felt like I was being seduced. And I know I'm a good looking guy, but when I see that the things are gonna go that way, I'm already, no, bitch, please, like, I don't need those type of problems. Like, miss me with that bullshit. I know what you're doing. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care. People only cheat, like, it doesn't happen out of nowhere. So for me, if I'm gonna make NTR, like literal NTR, it can just be like, oh, she has a boyfriend. It doesn't know anything that is happening in the back. It doesn't know that is being cheated on. There's no feelings involved. She's just cheating. That's not NTR to me. For me, NTR, there needs to be a point where the guy figures out, and then what he does from that point on, and what she does from that point on, is going to define what NTR it is. If the guy enjoys it, you have one type of NTR. If the girl, once she's caught, she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know why I did this, I feel so bad, whatever, and they fix the situation, that's another type of NTR. And then she goes back to doing that. What happens to me, the key moment is once the guy finds out or starts getting suspicious that the girl is cheating on him, what both parties do from that moment on is what defines what type of NTR we are about to watch. And if the guy never finds out, if the guy is never suspicious, if stuff is just happening behind his back, people catalog a lot of that as NTR, but I'm like, where are the feelings involved? Like, what kind of person is the guy? What kind of person is the girl? And for Fleeting Iris, I feel like we try to deliver many different teams where how is Robert going to, once Robert realizes or he doesn't realize or whatever, how is Ayame going to act? How is Robert going to act? And I feel like in different routes I was able to portray a different side of Robert, and on different routes I was able to portray a different side of Ayame. So some of the NTR, some of the routes were just basically cheating. Like if you look at the hospital route, for most of the hospital route, you realize that Robert never realizes he's getting cheated on. And Ayame is still dating Robert by the time the hospital route ends. She's just going over to have sex with, what's his face, dude? The big tall guy that is dating Fujiko at the end. Basically that guy. Ayame just realizes, just goes there and has sex with him. So basically she's just cheating on Robert. There's kind of no NTR. Whereas if you check the Kinky Kittens route, it's a lot more heavy in NTR. If you see one of the Melvin endings, and I feel like the ending of and I see like one of the endings for the Shota patch, even though it's not big there, the one where Ayame is having sex with the father, I feel like the ending is very NTR-ish. Like it's kind of heavy, but not too heavy. I feel like it's light. But the thing is, when watching an NTR story, we need to realize that not all people look at the NTR story from the same perspective. For me, I might think it's funny to see a guy corrupt someone else's girl, but there's a lot of people that have been cheated on. There's a lot of people that have been hurt by really evil females, and vice versa, like females that have been hurt by really evil men in real life that have been put in those situations. And then there's other people where it's not even what do you do when you find out you're being cheated on. Like some people are like, I like to see my women being taken by another guy. I like that feeling of despair or whatever. So different people are going to look at NTR from a different perspective, and the fetish or whatever you want to call it is going to hit some people like a different way. Most people are going to look at NTR like, oh, it's cool, the girl gets corrupted, the guy gets hurt because he doesn't trust her, she's trash. And that's most people. But some people like to or even unconsciously they start relating to the guy, and it hurts them as if that was happening to them. For other people, it's like, oh, I like being cheated on, so they relate to the guy, but not in a negative way, like I'm being hurt. It's more like, oh yes, cheat on me kind of thing. There's a lot of people that like that. So I know that there's a lot of people that are like, NTR is so stupid. It feels like they feel like most people that read NTR fit on that category where we like to see our women getting taken from us, which is completely bullshit, because you can approach NTR from so many different perspectives, female perspectives, male perspectives. Even on the male perspectives, there's many different ways in which a guy can take what is happening. Like, to me, Robert, when he started swinging, which is something that they, I feel like he was kind of pushed into it on Fleeting Iris, but I like to leave that open to interpretation. And once he starts realizing this is not swinging anymore, she's literally just cheating on me and I'm losing Ayame to this guy, Robert can act like a loser and get frustrated and be like, once he realizes that way too late, he starts trying to play the oppressive boyfriend, and then he loses Ayame and Adriana to Dan. But there's also a version where Robert is like, listen, I'm being a man. I was okay with this up until this point in the story. I was okay with this, but now I feel like you're cheating on me. So fuck you. I'm about to end this relationship. And then Adriana starts developing feelings for him. At some point, he's like, even better. I was about to move out of this relationship alone, and now I realize like Adriana has a chance to be with him, and with this chance of being with him, with this rich guy who is like a football player or whatever, and he's rich and whatever, she's choosing to be with him because she's developing genuine feelings for me. If you want to see something that will be like massive NTR, then I will be like, Robert ditches Ayame to be with Adriana, and Adriana will be like, I was just fucking with you. You think I will really fall for you? Boom. That's some heavy NTR. Like, there's many ways to twist this and deliver a lot of NTR. I don't think there's a lot of heavy NTR in Fleeting Iris, especially with the amount of stuff that I've seen. Some of it is pretty like, wow. It's kind of hard not to feel sad for some of the parties involved. The guy, the girl. Sometimes the girl starts doing it for the guy, and then she gets into it, and the guy realizes, and he treats her like trash, even though he might have been one of the reasons that pushed her into doing it. There's definitely a lot of amazing NTR stories, but there's a lot of different perspectives. People shouldn't look at NTR and be like, this is how all NTR stories are, because it's not true. As for Bloodlust, I feel like the game will be strong, because I'm not a huge NTR fan. I like hentai and I like good stories. If it has a good story, if it has good gameplay, especially in games, then I'm on board. But there's more to, like, I'm not exclusive to NTR. I also don't like vanilla. I don't like lovey-dovey shit. Like, very few shit, what was I gonna say? I'll say something regarding completely past me. Oh, sorry, it got back to me. Very few games that did like lovey-dovey stuff made it so wholesome, where you feel like, oh, okay, it all is good in the end, and you know, I haven't, me personally, I haven't seen. I find it kind of boring. I haven't seen a lot of lovey-dovey stuff that is actually good. Personally, for me, again, this is completely subjective. For me, I haven't seen a lot of lovey-dovey stuff that I found it decent. But I'm also not one where if I want to read the entire or whatever, because at this point I don't want to read anything. I'm already bombarded and I have to do so much research. At the end of the day, the last thing that I want to talk about and think about is sex and reading hentai and whatnot. I'm not going to look exclusively for NTR. I appreciate NTR, but I like a good corruption story. I like a good blackmail story. I like a good moral degradation story. And I feel like Bloodlust is going to be able to deliver on all those regards. The scenes are not going to be boring, lovey-dovey shit. But the people that are like exclusively, I only like NTR, are probably going to be a little bit disappointed. That's my take on it. So Morgan asks, speaking of vanilla, that was my main question for the Christmas patch. If you can put a percentage on how much scenes are with Robert, Jack, and Clark. Not a fan of them, rather have the other three. The other three being Melvin, Arthur, who else? Oh, Dan, probably. You mean Dan? The other three? Because there's more people in the game. There's a lot more males in the game. You probably mean the male games that are probably going to participate in the party. I'm going to be honest. I feel like there's like one scene for each. I feel like there's like, I can probably check out right now and tell you the exact number. So there's a scene with Arthur and Ayame. There's a scene with Fujiko and Jack. There's a scene with Adriana and Robert. Also, I know what you're saying, but wait to see what's their personality regarding to this game, because there's a backstory to it, and they might not be the nice guys that you think they are. Then Fuji and Jack again. Wait, the dude from the hospital? No, that's four. That's four. You need to count again, bro. Then there's Fuji with Melvin. Then there's Jack with Alex and Jazz. Then there's Dan with Ayame. There's Eve and Melvin, I think. And then there's Ayame and Clark. And I cannot explain how these stories play out because it will completely ruin the story. The dudes from the hospital. Okay, so you said Robert, Jack, and Clark. You don't like those. You said you are a fan of the other three, but the other three can be interpreted for very easily. Melvin, Dan, and Arthur. Melvin, Dan, and Arthur can be easily interpreted as the other three. You know. So those are the scenes. Yes, Evelyn and Melvin. I feel like, was it Evelyn and Melvin or Evelyn and Ralph? Let me. I need to listen. I don't want to spend too much time doing research on that right now. I'll get back to you later on that. But there's going to be Fujiko and Melvin almost for sure. Yes, there's Fujiko and Melvin. That scene is completed. I don't remember if this scene is like even Ralph or even Melvin. I need yeah, so yeah, you mean the other four, like four of the other dudes. But see, Sato could be there as well. Why did I forget Sato? Why is Sato not coming to the party? Shit, dude. I totally forgot about Sato. That's fucked up. I totally forgot about a character that is like one of the main characters. The dude from the hospital is not there. As secondary. Yeah, okay. No, okay. Yeah, as secondary, I get it. Usually is labeled NTR because we see the story as a third person. Most of the NTR games, they make it clear so you feel bad for the guy, but him can't do nothing about it. I don't feel bad about the guy. I feel bad about the girl. Like, you're the one cheating on your relationship. Wait, listen. Cheating on a relationship is the same as cheating in a video game. Now you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Bro, I promise you I haven't been smoking something. You are the one who's cheating yourself out of the fun. Obviously, at the end of the day, I don't want a girl that has been fucking 100 dudes behind my back. I also pride myself to be able to judge if a girl is fucking 100 guys behind my back. I will probably find out. You know, I like to assume that. Yeah, Game Shine said, yeah, he meant Scott. Thank you. So, at the end of the day, yeah, he said, you know how to make the route 100 out of 10, but you held back. Yeah, I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna hold back, like, because that one, that route that I was mentioning, that you're saying, I felt like that one was meant to be a win for Robert. I could have made it more NTR, but like what I tried to do in Flaming Gardens was having something for everyone. And obviously someone might just pick the wrong route, the one that is definitely not going to be for them, or the whole game might not be for them, but someone might pick up the wrong route and just dislike the whole game and feel like the whole game is going to be that type of narrative, so to speak. So yeah, I'm going to try and sneak Sato into the Christmas party, maybe. I need to check some stuff, but it's not a big deal. It's just the final scenes. All the other scenes, these ones I know for sure. Fuji with Jack twice. One where he thinks, I'm not gonna spoil. Fuji with Jack twice. Adriana with Robert once. Adriana with Robert and Arthur, which is a continuation of that one. Fujiko and Melvin. Jack with Alex and Jazz. These ones I'm 100% are gonna happen. These ones I'm 100% they're going to happen. The other four last scenes, I know where the girls are going to be. I know who's going to be the girls. I'm just not 100% sure who's going to be the guys, so I need to get back on that later. I don't have that information on me right now. I need to, actually I do, but I will need to go double check a lot of stuff, so forgive me if I'm, yeah, I understand that you want to see Scott in the Christmas party, but like you mentioned, he's a secondary character. Probably the reason why I also kept Sato out of the thing is because he's a secondary character. And I feel like originally, and this is why I'm saying that it's Melvin and Evelyn, I feel like the scene originally was meant to be Ralph and Evelyn, and I was like, listen, I can make this work. And the idea was that she will be like, you're the nicest guy in this party, and then she fucks him for reasons I don't want to explain. But I feel like it was completely off character for kind of Evelyn, but a lot for Ralph, because Ralph is a very nice guy, and obviously he's going to show up later in the games. And I feel like, okay, so I can do this, or I feel like people are going to be a lot happier if the scene is with Melvin, because it's probably like the most liked male character from the first game, with one of the most voted females of our games. So I feel like Evelyn and Melvin will be a great scene, and I feel like it's what it is. That's why I said that. But let's forget about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So as you see, there's a lot of ideas for Bloodlust, and we realize it's impossible to appeal to Greeks and Trojans. Trojans. You know what I mean. But we are going to try and make a compromise. So it's not going to be like Fleeting Iris. In fact, I can already tell you right from the start, Fleeting Iris is the game that will have the most NTR out of any of our games. Bloodlust is going to be centric on blackmail, corruption, a lot of blackmail and a lot of corruption, very slow. Our third game is going to be involved. I don't want to say it on YouTube, but basically, also we have a lot of ideas for the third game that might not make the game as a conventional RPG. So I kind of wanna hold out on saying what how the game is going to play out. And the fourth game, the one with Melissa, the one that people say that she looks like a girl from some zombie anime, which is absolutely coincidental. And I feel like I already told this story a million times. But when I was making the female characters for Fleeting Iris, for Lancey Chronicles, I wanted to. My goal was to make characters that did not look the same, that they had like some strong suits and some weak suits, and that they were divergent from one another. I wanted to as well for Lancey Chronicles to make something for everyone. The goal for Ayame will be the ultimate next door anime looking girl. So we initially went for, our breasts were upgraded a lot of times during the versions of Fleeting Iris. But initially we wanted a girl with a plain look, very innocent, and we wanted black hair, black eyes, or like, brown eyes. We wanted to have something that felt like kind of generic but kind of sexy at the same time. So the goal was like the ultimate girl next door, that had like nice proportions, like decent thighs, decent ass, decent breasts, pretty face, but kind of plain, so to speak. In some way, we wanted to make the ultimate girl next door. The other characters, we were resolute on making something that does not look the same. So if you look at our characters, we have a character with black hair, which is Ayame, a character with red hair, the redhead, which is Jazz, the blonde chick, which is Evelyn, Luna, which has blue hair and like braids, and you have Melissa, who has purple hair. And obviously they kind of were they kind of said something about their personality. If you look at Ayame, she looks like generic. If you look at Jazz, she looks like this physical tomboyish female, which is another another spectrum, so to speak. It's basically another completely different body, completely different personality, whatever. And for Evelyn, we wanted the MILF with the big breasts. When we went for Luna, we wanted the chick that will maybe appeal to the innocent, kind of looking like lolly, but not really, because obviously she's like fully mature. And then with Melissa, we wanted our strong point to be her ass and her thighs, like big ass, big thighs. And that's what we tried to do for the female characters. We wanted to do like this broad idea. So when looking for characters, when looking for ideas, when looking for hair, probably was like, I want tomboy hair for this girl, I want purple hair for this girl, I want this type of haircut for this girl, I want this type of haircut. And what happened very incidentally, and this is the second time that this happens, you can probably go ask Scarlett and the same thing. But when I explained the female character to Muko, I was like, I want this hair, this kind of hair, kind of like samurai-ish hair. The one where you're seeing a lot of karate tropes for for hentai and whatever. And basically, I ended up describing what this character for this zombie anime was. And this happened absolutely coincidental. Something that also happened was when I was trying to explain Scarlet, and I don't know, she might have played Persona 5. This might be a thing. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna base a character on I'm gonna base a character on a character from Persona, but I'm not gonna show Scarlet any images of this character. I'm just gonna say, listen, I want her to look like she has this type of shirt. She has kind of like a tomboy hair, blue, and she has like a nurse gown, a nurse jacket. And I explained her more or less what I wanted from the character. I provided her with no descriptions in terms of like drawings or whatever, and she drew something that was incidentally very similar to the chick from Persona 5. I mean, to some extent. Obviously, there's many big differences from the character, but it's just something that it's funny how it happens. I was not trying to at any point pay homage or whatever to a certain character. I just described something to the artists, and it ended up being very close to the reference. Maybe I provided them with too much. You can always argue that I provided them with too much details about the character that will be hard to not make something similar. But I know for a fact that I didn't. So at the end of the day, it's just something that I found absolutely hilarious, especially because when it came to Fleeting Aries, I didn't even know about the existence of this other character from this anime way back when we designed Melissa. Anyway, we need to move on from this. So Morgan, don't worry. Robert might not be the goody two shoes guy that you think he is when it comes to the Christmas patch, because this is like an alternative reality. So Robert just might be a guy that is having sex with his buddy friend, with his buddy. Robert might just be a guy that says he's not okay into swinging and he's not okay with having Ayame cheat, but maybe he's been fucking Adriana behind Dan's back for a while now. So that might be something about the story. Wink, wink. There might not be good people in that party, and everybody might be complete perverts. Besides Evelyn, I know that Evelyn is a nice chick in that party. You'll have to wait to find out what happens in the Christmas match. But yeah, and for the fourth game, it really depends on the people that you save and the people that you can that you recruit to your groups and to the groups you join. So the fourth game, you will be able to be on many different bases with many different groups, and you are able to journey through the game with many different characters. And depending on the characters that you hang out with and whatever, you might unlock some NTR elements or not. But the game is it's going to be a different experience for everyone depending on the decisions that you make. And don't worry, you will be able to unlock most of the scenes in one playthrough. Even though there will be a couple bad endings and whatnot. But one idea that I have is like, if you pick bad endings, you come to like this pivotal point in the story where you can just choose where to go. So yeah, basically that's it. Don't expect all the games to be very heavy on the NTR. Some of them might have some routes where they are NTR, but Bloodlust is going to be centric on, like I said, on corruption and blackmail. NTR might or might not be a thing depending on what you pick, and that's our decision for now. We might actually do a full NTR version of the game and one that is not, and that will definitely be an easier decision to make if we weren't already making two versions for Journey Abroad. So yeah, that covers Bloodlust. Give me a second. So for Journey Abroad, like I said before, it's probably the one in the best state right now, and at least the few initial patches should flow very easily. It's definitely, in design, it's far beyond what we had for when we started Fleeting Aries. We know exactly how we want to deliver Journey Abroad, and we probably have like at least the first 6 months of game completely fleshed out. So I already explained many times how the gameplay is going to be. It's going to be like a live sim, so to speak, and when it comes to the entire scenes, we already know exactly what we're going to deliver at least for the foreseeable future. Obviously, we want to leave ourselves with some. We want to leave ourselves open to some better ideas if we get to some point where people suggest like we like this character more. We want to see more of this character. We have this great idea for this character, and people do come up with great ideas, and we don't want to write ourselves into a corner where we have to play the game a certain way. But the at least like the first year of patches and the enticings, we already know where the game is going. Like it's definitely the one that is the most fleshed out right now. I was going to do the explain the fleeting areas, what's going on, and then do the Shota patch, but I'm going to do the Shota patch first because the Shota patch is the one that has the least amount of detail that I need to explain. For the Shota patch, like I said, there's 2 new scenes. There's a way better save system that explains where are you saving, if you're saving in the bestiality route, or if you're saving in the Shota patch. What day are you saving at, etc., etc. We fixed a lot of inconsistencies from between the Shota patch and the main game, and as we edited the story, we needed to also fix some inconsistencies. The game also now happens 8 months after the wedding. A lot of people pointed out that 2 months was, I feel like it was 2 months, was way too soon for all of the stuff that happens, for Ayami and Adriana to become best friends. For Ayami to get frustrated with Robert and whatnot, so we decided to make it happen like 8 months after the wedding. And yeah, there's basically the 2 new scenes. I already spoiled one, and there's a bunch of new CGs that were unique and whatnot. We really like the changes that we made with the game, and definitely even if you played the first version with like mostly placeholder text, I definitely suggest that you play the final version of the Shota patch. It's going to be a completely different game. And speaking on a completely different game, I want to finish out with explaining how Fleeting Hours Remaster is turning into a whole different beast. Basically, we just wanted to increase the resolution of the game and just grab Fleeting Hours and just port it to the new upgraded VXS engine that we created on Fleeting Hours EF. So basically, we will just grab the game, upscale a lot of the stuff, clean up a little bit of text, maybe edit a couple enticings that we feel like didn't age well, and that was going to be it. That was going to be Fleeting Hours Remastered. That is not what the game is turning out to be. First of all, the game is getting like better mechanics. We're getting rid of all the useless shit that does very little for the game, to the exception of Zell, which is going to, or the game's money, where you will be able to unlock some routes or some episodes. Like you will be able to unlock the driver's license episode. You will be able to unlock the gym episode. You will be able to unlock the Halloween by buying the pumpkin, or by playing it in the casino or whatever. So Zell will be like, if you play enough of the game, you will be able to unlock some of these routes and some of this stuff. It will be easy to unlock. Don't worry. You will get it just by passively playing the game. But everything like charm and whatnot, and morality and whatnot, we are going to get rid of all of that. Yeah, I feel like the game that started being more like an hindrance to the game, other than being helpful, because it's easy to do that when your game is extremely linear, and I know that people feel like Fleeting Hours is linear, but it's not. Code-wise, it's not. Especially now that you can switch between routes and whatnot. And one of the changes that we are making on the remaster is that you will be able to switch even more into the routes. I feel like the only routes that will not be available to switch in between are the family route and the Clark route. I feel like those are the only two that you will not be able to switch into the other ones. Yeah, the first 20 minutes, 100% sure. Literally, I spent the first 20 minutes, Morgan, answering the Discord question. So basically, we're going to get rid of all the useless mechanics. We are still going to find a way to to create a progress into the game where you have like a regular moment, like, and then you have the free roam and the fallen state, but it will not be tied to charm or morality or something like that. So basically, the money is going to be useful to unlock stuff like the Halloween, the Christmas patch, which we are going to mix with the game when we do it, and later on we're also going to insert bestiality and the shoulder patch into it, but people will have to download that one separately. Like, you will be able to follow up after the true ending to play the shoulder patch or not, depending on like a decision that you make in the game. So basically, we're going to get rid of all the mechanics that are just confusing for people, and we want to make the game a lot more fluid and be able to interchange between routes, which also means that now that the fleeting area is not the main focus, we can also take more time to build up the story to where it makes sense when stuff happens. Like, we can literally lock people into, like, actually we might actually be able to do a decent morality system. We also might be able to tie all of the scenes, like, where you can play all the routes at the same time, and then depending on what part you are in the game, you are able to see scenes or not. The game just says you need to be in free roam to watch a scene, or you need to be in fallen to watch a scene, instead of tying you up to like morality or charm or whatever it is. And then we want to completely change the start of the game. Like, are these, like, at the beginning of the game, we are going to put arrows to like channel you to where you need to go, or to give you an idea of what's the fastest path to go between point A and point B, and then we remove it. Like, if you have a quest, we just add arrows to the game where you can see from wherever you are in the game if there's a quest there or not, and we try to channel players to like figure out where if there's a quest that they still have to do or whatnot, just to channel them more towards the content, because it won't be as linear, and there won't be all the morality and all that stuff trying to channel the player to that. We just want to clean it up a lot. In the beginning of the game, we're just going to make a lot of changes where the progression happens a lot slower. And, Melvin won't start eating on Ayami just on the first day. Basically, she will be able to go around town talking to more characters that have a lot more useful dialogue other than just generic NPC shit. She will be able to meet some characters before she moves on. For instance, at the start of the game, she goes into the town hall, and basically they say they don't have any job offers besides this one place, but she's like, oh, never mind. And Ayame goes like, wait, what do you mean never mind? Do you have a job or not? Well, there's this place, but it was involved in like of a kidnapping whatever scandal. At the end, if they were acquitted, so I probably shouldn't be bad mouthing them, because they won in court. But at the same time, I don't feel. And Ayame is like, oh, if they're acquitted, there's no problem. Like, where is it and whatnot. And then she says, there's the place, go to an interview. But then she calls the cops and is like, listen, I just gave a girl, like a foreign girl, I got her an interview in that place that you guys were investigating not too long ago. You guys might want to keep an eye on it and whatever. So I felt it was right to call you guys just in case, whatever. And then the next day, as Ayami is leaving the job, she sees Flint going in. She doesn't realize, and doesn't obviously since she never met him, she doesn't know who he is. So she bumps into him, and then he looks at her, is like, oh, this is definitely the girl. He thinks that this is definitely the girl that is now working here. And then Flint goes to talk to Melvin, and he's like, listen, I see you got new help. Remember that you almost got caught doing whatever the fuck you got. We won't be able to cover your ass forever. And then you realize that the things actually happened, and people were covering for Melvin, and he was acquitted incorrectly, obviously. So basically, there's a lot more building up into the gameplay, and there's less mechanics. It's going to be a lot more fluid. There's new menus with a lot more quality of life options. It's going to look a lot better just in general. You will be able to input the description of the saves in the saves, as you guys have been asking for a longest time. There's going to be the more interchangeable routes. There's going to be a message log that was hard to make one that is compatible with our game due to how advanced our message system is. Basically, all of the quality of life changes and most of the complaints that people have about the game, we're going to flesh out. There's going to be better resolution. We are going to edit some of the entire scenes that we feel like didn't age the best. And then the ones that are completely cut from the game, we are going to add them to the CG room so you guys can revisit whenever you want. And yeah, basically Fleeting Hours Remaster is going to be like a completely new game with better dialogue, better flow. Just in general, something that we were not planning to do. But at the end of the day, we've been having fun doing it. And we just feel that the game still has a lot of potential. And we are definitely a different team from when we started, so we will be able to do more justice to Fleeting Hours as it deserves. And at the end of the day, once the game is released, I feel like it's going to be a lot worth it. And I feel like most of you guys that have been following us with Fleeting Hours through the years are definitely going to enjoy the improved version of the game, which honestly to me it feels like it deserves to be given that. Anyway, that was it for the podcast. I hope I answered most of your questions and I quenched most of your thirst when it comes to like most of the games and where are we going with the games. As you can see, we've been doing so much in so many fronts. We've been doing so much work. We are super tired most of the time, but it's definitely worth it. And I feel like right now we are like entangled because we need to get the Shota patch out of the way and we need to get the Christmas patch out of the way. Once we are focused on just working on Bloodlust and just working on Journey Abroad and working on Fleeting Hours Remaster on the side, I feel like it's going to at the office flow a lot better. But right now we are just trying to unscramble and untangle the situation where basically we're just focusing on a lot of different fronts at the same time, which we personally enjoy to some extent, but we know that it might be frustrating for people expecting the games and whatnot. But I know that at the end of this year, when people look back at what was released and what we were able to provide and what we were able to give you guys, I feel like it's 100% going to be worth it. And yeah, we are super excited to get you guys to play these games because we have so many ideas and when we are so looking forward to see you guys try these games. It's from me there's everything today. We don't have Isaac to say goodbye to you guys, but also do leave feedback on Discord if you guys like the time that we did the podcast today, if you like it earlier, if you like it at the regular time, because that will help me figure out when's the best time to do the podcast, because right now it's kind of late for me, which is 10:30 p.m. But it's going to depend on how you guys feel and if this is a better time for most people. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I feel like it was very productive today. It was really nice to talk to you guys. I appreciate you all for participating. Everyone that was on the podcast live. Ancestral, Sirius Black, Vincent the Ace, even though all he said was Vanilla's trash. I saw it before you retracted the message. Morgan, appreciate you for all the questions and all your concerns. Ian Stike and Game Shines, thank you for the very opportune and accurate message that he sent, which is Scott. We were in fact talking about Scott. Appreciate you guys all for listening to the game, listening to the podcast live, and everyone that is listening to the VOD. I appreciate you guys all as well. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I definitely did. And I hope to see you guys very soon with another development stream this week. Actually, I forgot one thing. I'm going on vacation. I've been needing this for the longest time. But it's not going to be anything special. I'm going to go on vacation. You guys are probably going to laugh, but we have so much work to put in Fleeting Hours and that I really don't want to leave right now. So basically, I'm going to work one last day. I'm going to go on vacation on Friday the 7th, and I'm going to come back on Monday morning the 10th. So I'm not going to leave for like a week or something. I'm just going to leave for like a Friday. I already don't work on weekends anyway, so I'm just going to miss this Friday, and that's going to be my small vacation, which it's going to help a lot. I definitely need it. But yeah, at the end of the day, I appreciate you all for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I'm definitely going to explain people or tell people on Discord and Twitter or whatever it is that I'm going on vacation, so people don't expect me to be around. I probably will be on my cell phone, but yeah, I hope you guys are excited for all the news. I definitely am. I really want to get the Shota patch and the Christmas patch out of the way, and start focusing on the other games. Just getting something out of the plate. I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm not like desperate that the plate is very full right now, but I'm really grateful that we were allowed to work on these games, but I also want to get them out of the way because I want you guys to experience them and just focus on the other games that we've been trying to start working on for the longest time, or start releasing for the longest time, which I'm asked for almost every day. Like, when is Journey Abroad coming out? When is Bloodlust coming out? When we'll be able to see patches? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely did. Once again, I always appreciate being able to talk to you guys here on the podcast. I appreciate you guys so much for coming and for listening, and I hope you guys were entertained and informed. Obviously, that is all from me. Have a nice day. Stay nice. Stay healthy. That's the most important part. Everything else is secondary. And have a nice day, guys. Thanks for coming.